Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking more about Hollywood drama. I mean, it's not really drama, it's actually kind of a very serious situation. So, if you have been around for the last couple of months, I have been covering the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial, and that finally came to a close on June 1st of this year. And, you know, a lot of people really enjoyed those videos, and I thoroughly enjoyed doing those videos. Like, it was a lot of fun for me, even though it was kind of, like, difficult to talk about at times. You know, I've been considering, you know, what direction do I want to take my channel? Do I want to continue to do videos kind of similar to that sort of thing? A lot of you guys were like asking for true crime and different court cases and things like that, and I'm still considering that route, but I also feel like that part of YouTube is kind of oversaturated at the moment. I don't want to like copy them, you know, so I'm still kind of considering what I want to do for that, but I really want to talk about this specific subject, and you guys have already seen the title and the thumbnail, and I'm so curious as to how many people already clicked off because they're automatically going to assume that I'm going to take one side over the other. That's not the case. So before you decide to leave me a hate comment and before you decide to click off this video, I just want to make one thing very clear. I am not Team Marilyn Manson, and I am not Team Evan Rachel Wood. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the beginning and the background of the Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood relationship. There is quite a lot that is going on right now with that, and a lot of it hasn't even begun yet. There is still a lot to come. There is still a lot of things that need to get revealed as it goes on, but I just wanted to talk about my initial reaction to it. I kind of wanted to talk about the background of Evan and Marilyn Manson, kind of like their relationship, you know, what happened, who accused who of what. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video kind of, you know, dip my toe in, so to speak, in the water and see how it feels. If there is more to come with this situation, I may make more videos on it and I may not. This for me is going to be a little more difficult than the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, because the Marilyn Manson allegations that are coming out are very, very hard to read about and listen to, and I don't want to do that to my head. I'm already going through CBT therapy at the moment for my own personal trauma, so I don't want to make things harder for myself than what they already are, if that makes sense. I did just kind of want to dip my toe into this a little bit and kind of get a feel for how I feel about it, how you guys feel about it. But yeah, this is something that is very serious. You know, this isn't like we're gonna sit here and, you know, joke about stuff. No, this is very serious, and I am not picking a side. When I originally first heard about this kind of stuff, I was instantly like, you know, I stand with Marilyn Manson. Like, I'm so sick of this happening to men, blah, blah, blah. But as I started to, you know, wait it out, kind of observe, kind of read, kind of research, I decided that that's not fair and that this is a very serious thing. SADV, mental abuse is not something to be fucked with. It is not something to joke about. And I decided that I wanted to look at this from a person in the middle and not take one side over the other. And the other thing that I did want to talk about is I am a huge fan of both parties in this situation. I am an Evan Rachel Wood fan and I am a Marilyn Manson fan. So this is just very difficult, but I want to be as non-biased as possible with this video when I'm talking about it. I don't want to jump to conclusions, and I want to look at both sides equally, as hard as that is. I am someone who is a very, very firm believer in innocent until proven guilty. That is the American way. It's in our Constitution, and that is something that I stand by. Whether someone gets accused of brutally murdering a family, I still am innocent until proven guilty. I'm not here to speculate about what did or didn't happen behind closed doors. I'm here to just present the facts and my own personal opinions on it, but I'm not going to sit here and say so-and-so is guilty and so-and-so is not, or so-and-so did this and so-and-so did not do this. I'm not going to do that. That's That's not very appropriate, and it's not very mature, and it's not fair to either one of these parties. And another thing I did want to talk about is I will not tolerate, under any circumstances, people in the comments comparing this, what I'm talking about right now, to the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. I do not want anyone comparing the two, okay? Those are two completely different things. Those are two sets of people that are completely different. There is nothing to compare here, okay? It's like comparing apples to oranges, okay? Yes, they're both fruits, but they're both very different, okay? So please do not say, oh, well, Amber said this and Evan's doing the same thing, so they must be like, it's the same thing, or Johnny does this and Manson does this. No. I'm not going to tolerate it, all right? The Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial is over. That verdict was reached by a jury of his peers on June 1st. It's over. It's done with. It's settled. Now we're moving on to something that is a little bit more serious. I mean, both are serious, but this is a little bit more serious, and I just don't want anybody to play the dick measuring game in the comments and comparing the two, okay? I don't want to hear it. Now that we have all of those prefaces and disclaimers out of the way, I am just going to be putting on some makeup while oh dear Lord, what is this planet? All right, well, we're going to cover that shit up right now. So I'm just going to put on some makeup and just kind of talk about this. That way I don't have to just sit here and stare at the camera the whole time. I can just, make myself look somewhat cute. And I'm not really going to be sitting here talking about what I'm doing with my makeup. I'm just going to be talking about this subject while putting on makeup. So if you have any questions about what I'm using on my face at any point in time, just leave me a comment and I will answer you and let you know what I'm using. But I'm not really like a makeup-y type channel, so I know a lot of people don't really care how I have this video laid out, because this is kind of like an introduction to this kind of thing, and that's kind of how I like to work here on my channel. I like to be very structured and have a lot of outlines when I do these type of videos, especially if I'm going to continue to do these types of videos. I like to kind of have a beginning background and then kind of move on down the line instead of just like, bam, here's the court case, you know what I mean? So this is just going to be kind of a background on the both of them, how they met, who alleged abuse against who, etc., and then just some of my observations and questions. So that's just kind of what this video is going to be about, just to kind of kick it off. And I do have an idea for a future video on this topic, and I will run that by you guys later on in the video. So Evan Rachel Wood was born on September 7th, 1987, making her 34 years old. She is an American actress, and I also do believe that she is a singer now. I think she does some singing, and she does have a really beautiful voice, but she has been an actress mostly for most of her career and most of her life. She began acting back in the early to mid 1990s. God, that sounds so ancient to say, like the 1990s. Like, what the hell? It sounds like the 1800s, doesn't it? And it's like even more fucked up because I was in early 90s, baby. Here comes 30, here comes 30. And I first discovered Evan Rachel Wood when she starred in the 2003 movie, which I'm sure many of my subscribers know about. It is the movie 13. That movie came out in 2003, and that is when I quickly discovered Evan Rachel Wood after that. And I have literally been a huge fan of Evan Rachel Wood ever since. I believe I have talked about her in some of my old videos where I said one of my favorite movies was 13 and I love Evan Rachel Wood, blah, blah, blah. For example, some of my favorite movies is obviously 13, Across the Universe, Life Before Her Eyes. Those are my top 3 favorite Evan Rachel Wood movies. So I've been a fan of Evan Rachel Wood for a really long time. I think she's a fabulous actress. And then in 2018, Evan Rachel Wood came out and said that she was abused when she was a young teenager, that she was groomed and physically and sexually abused by somebody, but she never ended up naming him. And then on February 1st, 2021, Evan Rachel Wood came out to the public with the name of her abuser. And the name of her abuser was none other than Mr. Brian Warner, aka known to the rest of the world as Marilyn Manson. Brian Hugh Warner, aka Marilyn Manson, was born on January 5th, 1969, making him 53 years old. And you're probably noticing right away, 1987, 1969. There is about an 18-19 year age difference between the two of them. Now, I know to a lot of people that right there is a red flag. However, that is not necessarily a bad thing. Is that a thing that abusers do? Is they find victims who are a lot younger? Yes, that is definitely a thing that happens, but it is not the case most of the time. I know a lot of people like to jump to conclusions and automatically say that the age difference is a huge problem. However, Evan Rachel Wood was 18 years old when she met Marilyn Manson, making her an adult and not considered a minor. In my personal opinion, I feel that age differences are only a matter of concern is when one of the parties is a minor. And granted, I understand 18, 19 years old is still very, very young to be dating someone of that age. And I totally understand that 100%, but a lot of people are getting it twisted that Marilyn Manson went after Evan Rachel Wood when she in fact was a minor. And from what I could find, they met in 2005 when Evan Rachel Wood was 18 years old. So he did not go after a minor. I do just want to give him that credit right there, as he is not a pedophile, you know, nothing like that, okay? They were both considered adults and neither one of them were minors. And Marilyn Manson is a singer, songwriter, shock rocker, artist, painter, writer, actor, who has been in the entertainment industry to the very early 90s and even the late 80s. For those of you who don't know who Marilyn Manson is and you're wondering how he went from Brian Warner to Marilyn Manson, well, I will tell you. So Marilyn Manson got his name by combining two notorious names known pretty much all over the world. The name Marilyn came from one of the most beautiful women in the entire world, Marilyn Monroe. And the Manson came from the notorious psychotic serial killer, Charles Manson. You combine Marilyn and you combine Manson, and what do you get? Marilyn Manson. That's how he got his name. That's what he came up with. That was the name of his band, Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids, I believe, in the early 90s. And Marilyn Manson has always been a very controversial person in the industry, in the world, in the entertainment business. You know, he's always been referred to as the Antichrist and the devil, and that he's weird or something's wrong with him, blah, blah, blah. Now, Marilyn Manson's entire career was built to be a shock factor. It was built to shock you. Now, Marilyn Manson, his career and how he is in his career is incredibly unique. His artistic, his aesthetic, his musical style, the way he writes, it is not everyone's cup of tea, okay? I can totally understand that. I can totally see that. You know, soccer suburban mom, I can understand if she would be a little frightened if she saw Marilyn Manson, all right? He's a shock rocker. He always wanted people to hear his music for the meaning behind the lyrics and not just the sound you were hearing coming out of the speakers. He had a very interesting philosophical way of writing his music. His songs had a very philosophical meaning behind some of them. He wanted people to see and think in a different way. He is an incredibly articulate songwriter and very unique performer. And like I just said, he has always been very controversial in the entertainment business. And still remains to be that way to this day. Since Marilyn Manson has been around for so long, he has a total of 11 studio albums. 3 out of those 11 studio albums have in fact gone platinum, along with many, many, many EPs that he released back in his early career. He has also done movies and TV shows and has sold paintings and written books and done short films, etc., etc. So he has a very, very long resume of things he has completed throughout his career, and every single one of them has always been controversial. Now, here's the other thing, and I don't know if you can tell by what I just, talked about, but I am also a very, very, very big fan of Marilyn Manson. I have been a fan of him for well over a decade now, probably, maybe 14 years at this point is how long I've been listening to his music. He was a huge, huge part of my adolescent years. The album High End of Low, for example, literally got me through about 12 to 15 years old. I always had Marilyn Manson playing in my ears, playing in my headphones, and I do truly, truly adore and cherish his music with all of my heart. That's why all of this just makes me really sad, because why the fuck am I tearing up right now? Ew! It just makes me sad that this whole thing is going on right now, because I'm such a big fan of Manson, and I would have truly been lost without his music. And it just really kind of hurts my heart that this is happening right now. I'm still going to listen to his music Yes. Am I still, going to enjoy his music? Yes. It hurts my heart when I see people online that are burning his albums, that are, burning his books or burning his paintings. It really hurts my heart. And it also hurts my heart that, people are attacking Evan Rachel Wood. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was kind of like, about Evan when she first made these accusations, because I didn't want to believe it. Okay, I was in denial. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I believe one person over the other right now. I'm just saying, like, all of this just makes me really, 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 really sad. Now, when Evan Rachel Wood came out and said the name of her abuser and said that it was, in fact, Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson, I had a very strange reaction to hearing that, because I mean, at first I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, I was obviously, like, a little, upset. But also, once that very quick, like, initial shock of anger came out, it was a very odd feeling, because I wasn't shocked to hear any of that at all. But at the same time, I was shocked and I was heartbroken. But my first initial, like, after the anger was I wasn't shocked at all, because Marilyn Manson, he is a unique person. Okay, like, I'm not gonna name call, I'm not gonna do any of that, but he is definitely a unique person. Okay, he has unique music, he has a unique look, he has a very unique way of living. He has tastes, and tastes of things that aren't exactly popular or aren't exactly well liked. And I always wondered, especially when the Me Too movement was a huge thing, I was kind of expecting Marilyn Manson's name to come up in something. And when it came out in 2021 by Evan Rachel Wood, I was just kind of like, wow. Okay, my eyebrows look like shit. Okay, so let's just try to look past these, because ugh. So yeah, it was just kind of like I was shocked but wasn't shocked, and it just kind of sucked, because like two of my like favorite people in Hollywood and the entertainment industry kind of going head to head with these different accusations. It was just kind of like it sucked, honestly. It really did suck. Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson met back in 2005. I know that literally sounds like a lifetime ago. I think I was like 12. Evan Rachel Wood was 18 and Marilyn Manson was 36 years old. And they met at a party that was happening at the Chateau Marmont. And they were both attending an event, a party there, and that's when they first met. In 2006, Marilyn Manson was still married to Dita Von Teese, and that is when Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood became a little bit closer. They became friends after they met, and Evan kind of felt this like special bond with Marilyn Manson, and things were starting to turn more or less into a relationship and a little less friendly. Dita Von Teese and Marilyn Manson got a divorce, and soon after, in 2007, Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson announced publicly that they were officially a couple. Evan Rachel Wood was around 19, 20 years old, and Marilyn Manson was 38 years old when they announced their official togetherness. And 1 year later, in 2008, Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood break up. It was kind of a shock. It was kind of sudden. I mean, nobody really understood why, like what the hell happened. And I couldn't really find anything as to why they really broke up. I don't know if it was like differences of lifestyle. I mean, that honestly wouldn't surprise me, because Marilyn Manson, I can't imagine he's a very easy person to live with. Yeah, I honestly have no idea why they broke up. But one thing that I thought was interesting, and one thing that I kind of wanted to share, is after they did break up, Evan Rachel Wood came out on People magazine and said this quote: "The person that had said such horrible things about Manson being controlling and emotionally abusive is certainly no source close to me. Manson has been by my side and taken care of me through the best and the worst times. I love him as a person and as an artist. I will always be proud to have been a part of that." That is what Evan Rachel Wood told People magazine back in 2008. 2009 rolls around, and Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson get back together, but not only are they back together, they're engaged. And then in 2010, Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood announce their breakoff of the engagement, and they officially break up for good. Now, I was still pretty young when all of that was going on, so, you know, I probably didn't even notice what the hell was going on back then. However, looking at it now, like, what a rocky, toxic-ass relationship. Like, together, breaking up, engaged, not engaged. Like, it just sounded like a very rocky, very toxic kind of relationship. So, I'm gonna, like, just go out on a limb here and say, like, it's a good thing that they, like, officially broke up. You know what I mean? I mean, aside from, like, the allegations and shit, it just didn't sound like a good relationship at all. But once they did break up, the breakup seemed to be very amicable. There seemed to be no bad blood between the two. They just kind of realized, hey, like, to be honest, we're not really right for each other. We should just go our separate ways. Like, you know, it was fun while it lasted, blah, blah, blah. It didn't seem like there was any, like, bad blood between the two of them when they broke up. You know what I mean? And then 8 years later, in 2018, 8 years after her and Marilyn Manson officially parted ways, Evan Rachel Wood started talking about her past with domestic violence and sexual assault that she personally was victim to back when she was in her early 20s and teen years. And also in 2018, she spoke before a House of Representatives where she talked about her abuse. However, she did not name her abuser. And then on February 1st, 2021, she took to Instagram and named her abuser. She said, February 1st, 2021, "The name of my abuser is Brian Warner, also known to the world as Marilyn Manson. He started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I am here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives. I stand with the many victims who will no longer be silent." That was quite a statement. Like, that was pretty powerful. Like, when I read that, I was like, oh my, this bitch is not fucking around. Like, that's one thing about Evan Rachel Wood that I always kind of liked about her, is she is such a I don't give a fuck kind of person, you know what I mean? And then after Evan Rachel Wood named Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson, as her abuser, on March 15th, 2022, Evan Rachel Wood came out with her very own kind of 2-episode documentary series called The Phoenix Rising, or something like that, where she talks about and addresses, and I believe shows some of the evidence of the abuse that she went through with Marilyn Manson, I think. Now, okay, this is like the other video idea. I have not watched the Phoenix Rising documentary yet. I do have it in my watch list, but I am going to be honest that as I am sitting here filming this video right now, I have not watched that documentary. I was very hesitant to, because I didn't want to hear something that I didn't want to believe. You know what I mean? I haven't watched it yet. I do plan to watch it. Like I said, it is in my watch list. And I will watch it before I say anything more about that. But what I want to ask you guys is, after I do watch it, do you want me to give my thoughts on it? And do you want me to talk about it? That's kind of the idea I had, but I wanted to run it by you guys. Do you want me to talk about it, or do you not want me to talk about it? Like, I can do a sit-down video, I can talk about each episode, I can talk about things that kind of stood out to me. And Evan Rachel Wood called this documentary Phoenix Rising, based off of the Phoenix Act Evan Rachel Wood created back in 2018. And in 2019, a bill passed in the state of California, raising the statute of limitations for domestic violence and sexual abuse survivors from 3 years to 10 years. Statute of limitations is, so say I get beat up by a boyfriend or something, and I wait 3 years, and then I decide to do something about it. Well, statute of limitations is in effect. If it's been over 3 years, say 3 years is the limit. If it's been over 3 years, I can't do anything about it, okay? You're screwed. But the Phoenix Act basically expanded the statute of limitations time. So making it that, you know, even though it happened 3 years ago, the statute of limitations is 10 years, so I still can do something about it. Does that make sense? Like, Are you guys getting that? Like, I hopefully I explained that okay. Which, you know, to give Evan credit, I think that is a very, very cool thing that she did. I think that is going to benefit, and I think that is going to help a lot of survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence. I think raising the statute of limitations for that kind of thing is very important. So I, you know, just by skimming over what the Phoenix Act is, I do support it, and I do think it is a good idea. So what happened next? You know, Evan Rachel Wood called out Marilyn Manson as her abuser. She had the whole Phoenix Act thing. A bill got passed. She did the documentary. But what happens next? Where is Marilyn Manson on all this? Of course, Marilyn Manson denied all allegations that have come out about Evan Rachel Wood said, and some other victims that have come forward as well. We'll get into that in a second. But of course, he denied all allegations, coming out on Instagram on the exact same day that Evan did, with her claiming that Marilyn Manson was her abuser. He also came onto Instagram February 1st, 2021, and said this quote, "Obviously, my art and my life have long been magnets for controversy, but these recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality. My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners, regardless of how and why others are now choosing to misrepresent the past. That is the truth." So again, another very powerful quote from Manson. I thought both of their statements were very powerful, to be honest. And here's where it gets a little bit scary, and here's where it kind of breaks my heart a little bit more. But ever since Evan Rachel Wood came out in February of 2021 and named Marilyn Manson as her abuser, it is estimated that about 16 different women have also come forward to make similar accusations and allegations against Marilyn Manson for abuse. That's a lot. And it makes me really, really sad. You know, when you like look up to somebody for so long and their music and their art, but you know, when you look up to somebody for so long and their music is literally your lifeline, and then you hear these kind of things, it's really fucking sad, dude. 16 women, it's really sad. Now, Marilyn Manson, you know, he is a kinky motherfucker, all right? I mean, Jesus, he doesn't have to say it. You can just tell by looking at him. And I don't mean to be judgmental or put him in, like, in a thing with stereotypes, but, like, he's kinky, okay? Like, he looks like the kind of guy that will tie you down and, you know, burn you with candles or something. So, I mean, Marilyn Manson does have a very unique lifestyle. He has a very unique sex life. He, you know, he is big on BDSM and stuff like that. But there's the thing with BDSM. It's not a rape culture, okay? BDSM is something that is very, very, very consensual with another person. And it is like, you know, it's a thing. Like, do research on it. Like, BDSM and submissives and dominance, like, it is a thing. But here's the thing that's really important that people need to understand is that kind of thing is very much consensual. It's like, for me, guys, like, I don't know what to believe. I don't know who to believe. I don't want to believe anybody. I don't want this to be real. This just, like, this fucking sucks so much, dude. Like, why? And then in early March of 2022, Marilyn Manson comes forward and is now suing Evan Rachel Wood for defamation because of the allegations that she has said about him. After being radio silent on all social media after he came out with that initial Instagram statement, a year later he comes out on Instagram again and says, and I quote, "There will come a time when I can share more about the events of the past year. Until then, I'm going to let the facts speak for themselves." He then provided a link in his Instagram bio. I do believe that link is still there on his Instagram bio, where it takes you to a Google Doc where it opens up and lets you read the entire case against Evan Rachel Wood. When that Google Doc came out, I did read the entire thing twice all the way through because it was, you know, very easily accessible. I could just click on it and sit down and read it, you know what I mean? So I did read it twice, the entire Google Doc. Again, do you know how many hours that is? It's a lot of fucking hours. But I did read the whole thing twice, but this was back in March, and it's now July that I'm filming this. I don't quite remember the specifics about what I read, but I do know that there is some pretty damning evidence against Evan Rachel Wood that is gonna come out, or, oh, oops. I believe I have seen, like, there's, like, some text messages and things like that, so, I mean, yeah, but to be perfectly honest with you, I truly don't remember, like, the specifics. Now, as far as criminal charges go, Marilyn Manson's house was searched in November of 2021 by the LA County Sheriff's Department. They did search his house with a search warrant after some of these sexual abuse allegations came out, and there was also a accusation that Marilyn Manson had this torture rape room, hidden room in his house, and so they did do a search warrant to see if they could find anything. I do know that they did seize some hard drives, some media files, computers, things like that, and they also did not find any evidence of any such room or torture or anything that was described in the report. So they didn't find anything like that, but they did seize a couple of his things. It is unknown whether or not anything was found on those things. We have no idea yet. It is under investigation, so we can't know those things. And then soon after, a judge said that it is going to be very unlikely that Marilyn Manson will face any criminal sexual assault charges. Now, I don't know why he said that. I'm assuming just based off of lack of evidence, because, you know, that's why our justice system here in America is honestly kind of fucked when it comes to sexual acts, because you can't just throw someone in jail for saying that they raped you, right? Like, you have to have evidence, you have to have proof, which is very, very difficult, and which is why, like, almost 80% of rapists walk free. So the judge did say that it is very unlikely that Marilyn Manson will face any sort of criminal sexual misconduct charges of any kind due to lack of evidence. And, you know, I can understand that, because you can't just charge someone with something without the proper proof, right? Like, you can't just do that. There is no solid proof that Marilyn Manson starved, raped, and tortured and fed drugs to these women. There's no proof. And if there is proof, well, it remains yet to be seen. So, and I'm not saying it happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen, okay? I'm just saying we have to look at this from a very, like, you know, legal way. You can't just, you know, lock someone up and throw away the key without solid evidence and proof. That's all I'm saying there about that. So, to kind of wrap this up, what's going to happen now? Okay, Evan Rachel Wood named him as the abuser. Marilyn Manson came out and said that's not true, and he's going to sue her. So, what's going to happen now? I don't know. Is there going to be a trial? Is it going to be televised? What evidence is going to be shown? Are there going to be charges that will be pressed? Is there going to be jail time for somebody? Like, wow. I look like a clown. I mean, if there is going to be a trial of any kind, it's going to be, like, way down the road, because it's very difficult to kind of get these things going. And like we talked about with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, defamation trials are just very, very sticky. They're very hard. They're very confusing. So I don't know if this is going to be just a defamation trial or if this is going to be a criminal trial. Like, I don't know what's going to come of this. I don't know if they're going to settle outside of court. Is there not even going to be a trial? Like, my mind is spiraling. Okay, I absolutely hate my makeup today. Some of, like, my own personal questions and confusions that I have about this whole thing is, if Marilyn Manson really was truly, like, abusing these women like they're alleging he did, why is he wasting his time suing Evan Rachel Wood for this? And why? Like, why? I really just want to know why. You know, because if he was guilty, why would he go through all of this just to be proved wrong? You know what I mean? Or is he at a point in his life where he's like, you know what else have I got to lose? Fuck it. I'm just going to try it this way. And another thing is, if he was really truly abusing these women, did he not, like, what was going through his mind? Did he really not think that this was going to come up again in the future? Did he really think that these women wouldn't say anything? You know, because, you know, he's very well known, you know, so, I mean, wouldn't he be like, okay, like, I should probably not do this because this could come back to bite me in the ass, or, like, was he not thinking about that? Does he have just such a power trip in his mind where he's like, nothing will happen to me because I'm Marilyn fucking Manson, you know what I mean? Like, it just makes me so freaking sad that this is happening, and you know, 16 women have come forward. You know, are they all lying? Are some of them telling the truth? Like, are they mistaking a BDSM relationship for something else? Are they seeing it differently now than what they did back then? Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like if you're gonna be someone like Marilyn Manson, I feel like you need to have these people sign like a fucking form, a waiver saying, hey, I'm consenting to this kinky fucking lifestyle, and this is what it is, and I can't mistake it for something else 15 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel so unsure right now. I don't really know what to think. I want to keep, you know, hearing all the evidence. I want to keep doing research. I want to keep reading stuff. I want to, like, really truly understand. I don't want Evan Rachel Wood to be lying. I don't want her to be a victim. I don't want Marilyn Manson to be guilty of this. I don't want to believe that he did something like this, you know? So it's just all, like, freaking, like, brain spaghetti going on right now. And yeah, these next few years are going to be interesting. I don't think this is something that's gonna happen overnight exactly. So that was my first video, kind of talking about, kind of dipping my toes into the relationship between Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood and what transpired and what happened after. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Let's not argue. Okay, just like with the other videos, let's not argue. Let's have a decent discussion. Let's not start pointing fingers and, you know, hating people for their opinion if it doesn't match yours. Like, let's not do that. Just let me know what you think about this whole thing down in the comments. Let's not, like, you know, these are people's lives again, so let's try to be respectful as well. But those are just my initial thoughts, and this is my first of many possibly videos that I plan on doing on this. It's a lot. So let me know what you guys think. Did you like this video? Do you want me to do more? Do you want me to do the Phoenix Rising video? Please sound off and let me know down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you guys, I don't really want to use the word enjoyed, but enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you go down and give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and you want to follow along with me on this other little journey, make sure you go down and hit that red subscribe button. I do upload every 3 to 4 days here. My channel is also eligible for super thanks. It's basically like a little tip jar, so if you are feeling generous enough to leave me a tip, I would also greatly appreciate that as well. I love you guys so much. Thanks so much again for watching. Thanks for putting up with all of the outside noises, the motorcycles, the trucks. It's noisy out there. But I love you guys, and I will see you very soon in my next video. I love you. Bye.